And the reality is that just about every American agrees, no matter where we come from, how we vote, or what our skin color is, we all deserve those things. Yet the Republican Party, bought out by greedy CEOs and billionaires and lobbyists, have always been terrified of that reality. So terrified that instead of facing it, they've chosen to lie and scapegoat and defraud even the folks who elected them, assuming we're all too foolish to see what's really going on. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today on behalf of the grandmas and grandpas and moms and dads and neighbors and beloved community members who spent their entire lives paying into Medicare out of their own paychecks on the sacred promise that they could retire with health and dignity, only to have that promise betrayed by today's Republican Party. I stand here on behalf of our aging parents and sons and daughters fighting mental illness, loved ones who are cancer patients and stroke survivors, workers injured on the job, orphaned children, and siblings with disabilities whose access to food, shelter, medicine, and dignified retirement depends on Social Security that Republicans are hell-bent on tearing away. In Pennsylvania alone, 2.8 million folks depend on Medicare, 227,727 in Allegheny County. 2.9 million depend on Social Security, nearly 150,000 in my district alone. Every one of them deserves to retire in dignity with access to health care. Every one of them deserves a Congress where every member has the decency to honor that sacred promise not to leave our families behind at the hardest moments of their lives. So let me break it down. First, Republicans passed tax handouts for their filthy rich donors, promising a trickle-down miracle that never has and will never happen, from Reaganomics to the Trump tax scam. Then, when their tax scam causes the economy to slow and deficits to grow, they refuse to correct their mistake. Instead, they blame immigrants, poor folks, black folks, and brown folks. Next, Republicans pretend to panic and call for devastating cuts to Social Security and Medicare that would force Americans to work longer for less and tear away their hard-earned retirement and end Medicare as we know it, reducing spending. Then they call for more handouts for their billionaire donors and corporate polluters, hoping that you'll settle for tearing away your neighbors' lifelines to protect your own right to retire in dignity, forcing us to the brink of catastrophic shutdown or debt ceiling crises until we clean up their mess. Then they repeat the cycle, hoping enough of us will forgive and forget their scheme to tear away Medicare and Social Security and believe their lie that they were only after food assistance or health care or housing for poor folks, not your earned benefits, when the truth is that they always were and always will be after it all. As I speak, Republicans on the Budget Committee are holding a hearing to establish a death panel. Thank you. I'm wrapping this up. As I speak, the Republicans on the Budget Committee are holding a hearing to establish a death panel commission to gut earned benefits, where their chairman called this party's fight to tear Social Security our generation's world war. At a time when the majority of Pennsylvanians say they struggle to afford health care and half are delaying getting the Medicare they need because they can't afford it, we as Democrats have an obligation to fight not only Social Security, to protect Social Security and Medicare, but to expand them. Preserve the retirement age, increase benefits to keep up with inflation, expand Medicare to include vision, dental, hearing, hold big pharma price gougers accountable, and pass Medicare for all. I urge my colleagues to defeat the previous question so we can bring up legislation that reaffirms the House of Representatives' commitment to protecting and strengthening Social Security and Medicare, and I yield back.